Good afternoon, evening, Elements family. This is Coach Justin coming at you with your basics of the day. Today, actually, like I said, we're gonna, like I said in my post, we're gonna continue on with the lockdown, which is again more of an intermediate move. It's definitely a position that has lots of options from it. So, you know, making it a position you get good at can be really useful. For your game, and especially if you're a beginner, it can definitely work well against other beginners. But yesterday we went over the basics of the lockdown, how to get to the proper positioning, and one old school sweep. Today we're going to review some of that stuff, and then I'm going to show you a couple more potential sweeps from here that are, I'm going to show you one sweep, and I'm going to show you one position change is what I'm going to show you. Okay, so make my adjustments here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start by reviewing the lockdown as a position. And first of all, it's in half guard. Remember, half guard is when you got one leg and not the other, so you just have one leg. Like this. So I've got one leg like this, and this is the half guard position. So he'll be on top of me, but just so I can see you guys, I'm just going to leave him here for a second. Now, normally what you're going to do in half guard is, and there are variations of half guard. This is just one variation where invented by, or not invented by, popularized by Eddie Bravo and 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. And so the more traditional way of doing the half guard a lot of times is to use the inside leg to pin the leg down like so, and then using the outside leg in sort of a figure four position. This can really tighten down on that leg there. Or you can even do a couple other things that a lot of no-gi players like to do. But the lockdown is, like I said, it's a very strong position, and I think one of my favorite positions to go to. It definitely it's something that, if you decide to play, it's definitely something that can be very useful for you, but also can run into a few people who are really good at defending against it. So again, what is the lockdown? The lockdown is the outside leg. So notice how this is outside here and this is inside here. The outside leg goes over instead, and then it figure four is underneath the inside leg, and then the inside leg hooks underneath the foot. Okay, so I can hook this. Bob's legs are kind of wonky anyway. Get this there. There we go. So there's your lockdown position, and you can use this position to stretch your opponent and raise your opponent up, which is part of what our move sets is for the lockdown position. Okay. So remember, we have two ways to get to the position we want to once we're here. What we want is we want double underhooks, okay? Because most of the time, once we get to our lockdown position and your opponent is going to have an underhook and an overhook, right? And they're most likely going to have their hands together like this on your chest, and they're going to be holding, or up here like this, and they're going to be holding you, pinning their face to your chest, all right? We don't really care about that. We're trying to make a little bit of space so that we can force our opponent to move in the direction we want to by controlling their base, all right? Now, when you're in the over-under position, obviously I'm flat on my back, and I don't want to be flat on my back. And if I try to just turn into my opponent from here, he's going to push me back down, okay? So we can use this position to do all kinds of manipulations to the lower body, just like I showed yesterday. And one thing I found to be really useful, again, like I said yesterday, is using this outside leg to pin the leg down. So I don't just get my lockdown in and try to like fully extend everything straight out. A lot of times when I do that, a guy will flip their foot out, and then I got to try to get it back and so on and so forth. So what I'll do is I'll actually use the inside leg to extend out, and at the same time use this outside leg to push down. So I'm kind of see how my knee goes from up to the side, all right? And this foot here will then extend out. What that does is that helps keep their hip in place and keeps them from swiveling their hips as well as if this weren't. Now, obviously, you know, the tighter you can cinch this, the better. And in fact, the lower down on the ankle you can get this, the better. So I go down low on the ankle and then I pinch like this and extend out. That's going to be really good. I don't want to try to keep it up here near my knee and extend out because I want to be able to mobilize my hips as well. So yesterday I talked about two options. Option one was the jaws of life. So I take this underhooked side, I put a hand inside underneath the armpit. I can make a fist or whatever, and I kind of create space here. And once that space is created, just using a frame, bring this hand inside to create more space, and then I can get underneath. And if I get underneath, under both, I want to go C-cups under the arms. All right? I don't want to try to go full on through, because if I go full on through, I have to, it's me versus that. So I'm actually going to go low on the armpits. So they're still going to be hugging me here, and I'm going to go low on the armpits. And when I'm that way, I can use my legs and my arms to help lift me up. So when I go up, see, I'm going to go up first. I'm going to go up, and then I'm going to go over. And when I go over, he's going to base. And I'm going to come down real low, grab around his waist. All right? Now, again, yesterday, the other option is to do called a whip down. So whip down is to the other side. So if I'm here, right, and I'm holding, maybe even gonna try to sweep, try to make an easy sweep. I'm gonna do an overhook here like this. So grab that arm, pull this here. I'm gonna again try to pull up to my chest as high as I can go. Then I'm gonna whip over. And notice when I whip over, he starts to go. So most of the time, your opponent here is going to pull this arm out. So I'll show you. They go boom, and then they go boom like that, right? Because they're posting. So now that they've posted, I'm going to reach underneath, and I'm going to shoot to the sky on this one. A little different than the last one, because the last one I was trying to force them that way. This one, I'm using the fluidity of my hips to get them to go, and with that, I need to increase my leverage in the moment. So I raise my hand to the sky like this. And then we end up in the same position. I try to get as low as I can. They're going to post this bottom leg out like this. And I'm going to try to keep here like this. Okay? So this is where I'm going to end up. So now, what I'm going to show is I'm going to show what options you have there. Okay? So yesterday, the first option I showed was an old school sweep. So you reach under, you grab the foot, you pull the foot, and you get to sweep them that way. All right. Today, we're going to sweep them this way. All right. Now, depending on what your opponent does will determine what you do. That's the fluidity of this position, because your opponent's response dictates how you respond. Okay, so let's say you do go for old school for the first move. So you reach down for that foot and you go for old school. So what do? They will probably do one of two things. They'll either kick their foot out, so it'll just go like this, right? Or they will post up their foot like this, okay? Now, if they post up their foot like this is a usual common response because you're in here real tight like this, and so they go like that. This one is a sweep that you can use both with lockdown and without lockdown, and I think it's called I think Eddie called it a plan B. But what you're going to do is you're going to use your C cup again. So this position here, you're going to go underneath their knee like this. So, sorry, you can't see that. Sit up, bum. So you're gonna go underneath their knee like this, right? So from here, it's gonna be real easy to twist to, might be the, twist back. So I'm gonna go back to where I was, and even if they try to post, that's okay, because if they post out here, that's okay. What I'm actually doing is I'm elevating their leg. So it's just gonna go over like this, all right? Now, this is a real easy sweep to do. And the only problem with it is I don't have good control of this leg. So if a guy's kind of spazzy a little bit, I have to be real quick about really trying to push and pin so that I can unhook my legs. I've unhooked my legs already. And try to pin that to the mat so that I can get this leg out and come back up into side control. Okay, so you really gotta there's the follow through, because again, that's why that's what makes these moves more intermediate moves, because they're nuanced. They're not just grab, pull, and go over. You know, you have to continue on with the move. So I'll show that one more time. So I've got Bob in lockdown. I've already gotten him up somehow. And down here, he decides when I go for that foot, he's gonna post this foot up like this. So I go, okay, and I go right to C cup and twist. And the great thing too is with the gi on, I can grab the gi and pull this way too. So I'm not just relying on my roll. I'm actually pulling him off center, using the gi and lifting at the same time. So I go here, I roll, I pin, I unhook. I might even have to kick this knee out from underneath. And I come up, pinning to the mat, and then I reposition myself. And when I'm ready, I go for my side control. Okay? So that is one reaction to the to this whole process. If you're going to go one way and then go the other way and everything. So that's this. That's the I think it might be a twist back, because obviously I'm twisting back. I twist one way and I twist the other. I don't remember exactly though. Eddie's got an interesting way of naming some of these moves. But it's either plan B or twist back, and I know there's a combo of the two when I go for, I think it's twist back. So I'll show, so anyway, now what's the other thing that your opponent can do, okay? Your opponent can, instead of, I'm here, he reaches down below, so I post up here like this. Another real easy thing for your opponent to do is just flip this foot out like this, right? Or even if they're out here like this, it's real easy just to sort of just make a micro adjustment. So if my feet are together and I'm here and my opponent goes for my foot, just moving it out like that, it's gonna be real easy for my opponent to make that adjustment, okay? So, you know what I'm realizing? I think this is a mirrored image. So you're seeing me, that's my left leg, but it looks like my right leg. So hopefully, I mean, maybe the video is that way, I don't know. It's because I'm using the front-facing camera. I guess I'll have to double check. So apologize if this is backwards to everybody. I just realized now that I've been doing this for a couple of weeks. But what do you do in that situation? So what we have is we have a move that Eddie likes to call the electric chair. Okay, so if I can't get that foot, and this is what I commonly do, is I'm actually going to reach underneath the leg and hook. So instead of them posting and me getting the C cup, I'm actually going to reach under and get to my elbow like this. Okay, so I'm going to reach under and get to my elbow like this, because what's going to happen then is once I'm here, I'm gonna twist back, right? And as I twist back, this hand comes in front and it pushes on this armpit. I get a lot of resistance here from people who just post with this hand. And so you need to push this and try to get this up higher so that you can then push that. Now you see this is called the electric chair. There's a reason why they call it this, because see how like stretched out I have my opponent by the groin essentially. It can be, you can finish people from here just by doing this. There's a few submissions that you can go through here that are really but dependent on flexibility. So, you know, if you're flexible and you can do these moves, or you can, and people do these moves to you and you just let them, you're fine, you know. But there's lots of other moves we could do from here. And so probably won't show a whole lot of those because I only have 2 days. And like I said, a seminar on lockdown could take forever. Like there's just so many different pathways besides just the sweep itself. Because if I go here like this, and then what he usually does is tumbles here. So he goes to his side here, and then once he does that, I just sit up with him, keep this up high here like this. So you keep his leg up on my shoulder, and then back here so you guys can see a little better. All right, so I'm here. I'm gonna come up, and when I come up, I'm gonna grab his head and his arm if I can. And once that's grabbed, release, kick that leg out, use my knee to push the leg off, come up into side control. Then when I'm ready, release that leg and regard into side control. Okay? So let's double down on these options one more time so we can put it all in perspective. All right, so option number one. He's got me in his lockdown. He goes for old school. So he reaches in for my foot. All right, so he's gonna reach across my foot and grab my toes on the outside. As he reaches for my foot, I don't like that. So my first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna move my foot out of the way. So see how my foot's right here to my legs? I'm just gonna move it out of the way. It's a simple adjustment. Now he can't get it. Okay, so now he's going to shoot under for the electric chair. When he shoots for the electric chair, which is the one that I just showed, that's when I'm going to pop up here. Now he's deep, but I've got a base, so I can base in this way. Now he's going to reach under for the C cup. I'm going to come back down again. So in that respect, it's a little bit of a game that you play with your opponent, whether you're top or bottom, okay? So first thing people usually go for is the old school. Then, I mean, that's first on the list. It doesn't mean that that's the first you have to go for. If I'm over here and I've got the whizzer on and I'm giving you enough room to go for the electric chair, there's more stuff to do from the electric chair, and it's easier to control from the electric chair than it is from the old school. But sometimes, I will say this too, sometimes you have obstructions. So if you're in MMA and you're up against a wall, you can't sweep them into the wall. You have to sweep them the other way. So you have to try to get that old school, or you have to go to dogfight, okay? So let me show you those sweeps one more time, and then I'll show you the fancy footwork stuff for dogfight, okay? And to refresh your memory, if you don't know this, dogfight is a position in wrestling where both people are on their knees, but they're side by side. And one person has an overhook and the other person has an underhook. And whoever, you know, some person could have a stronger overhook or whatever. And it really just depends on, the person. Okay. So one more time with the sweeps from, try to do a side view, actually. I'll try to like roll into and out of the camera so you can see that a little better instead of straight on. Okay. Turn you the other way. Okay. So from here, we have our lockdown, right? We figured out how we're gonna do this. And sometimes this stuff happens real smooth. When you're really good at this, this can happen real smooth without any stopping at all. All right. So if I'm going to do this to like kind of try to do this in half speed so I can show you kind of what maybe the C cup one kind of looks like. Okay. So we're here and here. I'm going to whip down, underneath, get my hand under, whip up, C cup, and then sweep over, lifting the head up, just like that. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to go jaws of life. Hand comes inside, creates space. Other hand comes inside, creates more space. C cup underneath the armpit. And then C cup underneath the armpit. Up and over. This time he's going to post, or he's not going to post. So I'm going to go in for the electric chair sweep. So I'm here. Then I move him back this way. Remember, I can pull him as well. Try to get this up to my shoulder and push on his armpit. And if he rolls over to his back, roll on up. Grab the head and arm and finish the pass that way. Or we could even potentially do the old school. That one was yesterday, so I'll show that one anyway. So again, I'm gonna go jaws of life, create space, come inside, create more space. C cup, lift it up, get to here, grab, reach down to grab the foot on the outside, pull the foot in, unhook the feet, come across, pull the foot, come outside, finish the maneuver. Okay, so those are your 3 big sweeps from that position, and you can use them a couple of those in a non-lockdown way. The C cup, twist back sweep, the old school, the electric chair, those are all sweeps you can do with some variation of success when your opponent's in regular half guard. Okay, but lockdown gives you a little more control because you can control their hips a little better than you can without the lockdown. All right. So let's move to the dogfight. Okay. Now, when you're playing against somebody who is pretty good at the lockdown, they're pretty good at breaking it down. They've got real good low base, and they're really good at breaking it down. You can't sweep them for whatever reason. They got real tight thighs. They get real low. They can keep this down, keep that overhook down real strong, that whizzer down real strong. You cannot sweep them. So then we have another option besides the sweep called the dogfight. Okay. So the way the dogfight works is like this. From this is a position you can get to from a lot of half guards regularly as well. But I like to get it from the lockdown because of the way the feet are. Okay, so if I'm here, right, in my lockdown, and I do my whole maneuvering like this, and I get to this position here, what I'm gonna do is it's all about your feet, right? Even with the whizzer in. So imagine this arm's behind this arm, so I can't come up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unhook this bottom foot. So this top foot's still going to stay, the heel is still going to stay up against the body. And in fact, if you can get this kind of up here like that, that's going to be even better. And you're going to pull this leg out like that. So now I'm down on my stomach. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep hold of this. I'm actually going to reach up to the, where's his head? All the way up here in the gi. This thing. Should put my niece's gi on here so it'll fit better. This is one of my first gis. Come on, okay. All right, so I'm gonna reach up I'm going to grab up here to keep him from coming out the back. And I'm going to hook this foot, and I'm going to come up, belly down, and I'm going to come up to my knees like this. And I'm actually going to try to trap this foot in between this leg like this. Okay? And I'm trapping this foot because if I don't trap that foot, it's actually pretty easy for him to spin up around over the top of me because of the positioning that I have. Or I've had a lot of people spin in front of me. So if I was in the other position, I've had people spin this way. Occasionally, I've had people try to spin the other way. But the whizzer keeps me from coming onto their back, whereas my underhook, all it does is gives me a little better, or takes his leverage away from pushing me down, right? So the underhook's still real important, but once you get here, there's a couple things you can do, okay? One of the easiest things that, that can be done from here is what's called the limp arm, all right? And the limp arm is a move that they use in wrestling all the time in this position. So if my opponent, if I have an overhook on my opponent, and he's got this, an underhook, and he's got this overhook on me like this, we're both here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my shoulder down to the mat, and I'm going to turn this arm in. So I'm going to go like this, and then this arm, I'm going to pull out, and then come back around, and now I can get on top of my opponent. When I do that, most of the time, people actually like go to their back because they don't want to have their back taken, especially if I'm in here and I've got this foot locked. Now, I do have to watch out because if you remember, having this knee on the inside can set me up for a rolling knee bar. So I need to watch out for that. I need to control that position. But I can do that pretty easily by just putting this back up and putting this knee here. And then if I want to, like, he'll be on his feet. So if I want to get this foot out here, I can come around like that. So dogfight's a little harder to show on Bob if I had an opponent here. Definitely. Anybody who want to come be my partner? Show you how to do this stuff. But there's some really great moves you can do from dogfight. Sweeps even you can do from dogfight with that underhook. The first one is you're just going to reach across. You're going to grab their knee and pull it in and drive into them. It's a simple collapse of their leg. So if I'm here in dogfight, right, and Bob's being good partner, okay, he's got this arm over my arm, like this. He's not letting that arm out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach across, grab his leg like this, and pull it in, and then dump him over like that. Pretty easy. No big deal. It's definitely, you know, when you practice these moves, you don't want to just get into the position and do it. You want to like roll up into that position and do that particular move, the leg pull. And of course, the other one is this is the dog fight plan B. I think this is called what that sweep's called in the 10th Planet lingo. So I reach for that knee to pull it, and he posts. So he goes like this, and he's like, "You're not going to pull me that way, guy." And he's just like whizzing real hard. So you reach under, you C-cup that leg, roll it back over like you did the last one. So this is a continuation of that move. I get here. I go for that knee. He decides he doesn't want me to grab that knee. So he puts his leg up like this. So I'm just going to reach under, C-cup his knee, and roll back, and I'll be out down low like this, and roll back. And then I've got that same C-cup sweep that I showed before. Okay? So it's kind of, how many moves is that? One from yesterday. Sorry, the refreshers from yesterday. And we got one sweep, two sweep, dog fight. It's like 5 things. And they're all kind of connected, though. So that's what's really important, is they're all kind of connected with your options. So if you had a chance to write things down, you'd want to write something like lockdown half,
old school sweep, twist back sweep, and electric chair sweep. And then besides that, you want to say up to dogfight, and then dogfight sweep, or I think it's called Plan B, and then the third one is Plan B to twist back. So, and the twist back sweep, remember, is that C cup sweep. So I know there's a lot of little things there, but like the steps to get there are all the same. It's the actual option for the move that you have, and this is something that you have to like practice with. Okay, so it would be something like you and your partner get in a lockdown, and the first thing you want to practice is, even just a whip down and a whip up, and then a whip down and a whip up. Do that 10 times, and then do Jaws of Life 10 times, because sometimes that whip down doesn't quite work, or sometimes Jaws of Life doesn't work and whip down works better. Whatever works for you. There are, like I said, there's tons of other options, or there's a couple other, sorry, not tons, but a couple other options here. There's like, potentially going to butterfly guard and then regaining guard from there is one thing that you can do if you have big leg dexterity. I have trouble with it, so it's not really something I go for, but it's something you can do. And then, like I said, if you're in that half guard and they're being a pain and you got that underhook, you can set up the dogfight. You can even set up the dogfight when you're in regular half guard. It's not really all that difficult to do. So let me run through them one more time so you can all see them again. And then that's pretty much what I want to go over today. I don't want to give you, I know I've already given you a lot of things to think about, but I don't want to go over so much more because, again, it's really about the path to these positions is pretty much the same. It's the diverging that is different. So it's getting all the way to the setup. And then once the setup happens, it depends on what your opponent does that determines what you do. There's, so off the old school sweep, off of this sweep, off of that sweep, whatever, it's all determined by what your opponent does. Okay. So I'll go over this one more time just for visual sake. So break his knee here, get back to one position. So we got the lockdown. We're going to whip down. So whip down is knees up, knees over. He's going to go like this, get my underhook. Once I get my underhook, I'm going to whip up and whip back, reach to the sky so I can grab and get low. All right, remember, you get low, your head goes low because if your head stays high, he's just going to cross face your head and push you down back that way. So you need your head to go low. So ear as close to the belly button as you can. Okay. Then once we're here, my hand goes inside to the old school, right? Old school sweep. He doesn't like the old school sweep. He pops out. So I'm going to go under to go to the electric chair sweep. So the electric chair sweep, I'm going to go this way, over the head, push, get that arm inside, push. I'm going to keep sweeping until I get here, grab the hands together around the head and the arm. And then once I'm there, I can let this go. Get that knee behind the other leg to push it forward and get that other leg out and come up. Okay? That's one path. Path number two. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go Jaws of Life, create space. Create more space. Get this hand inside to C cup, up, whip up to here. I'm going to grab the gi. Gonna go for my old school sweep. He decides to post up. When he posts up, twist back, C cup, and pull to lift him up and over. And once I'm here, pin his leg to the mat. Pin his leg to the mat. Keep it pinned while you open up your legs to push his legs through. Come up, get in side control. Get your side control position. Okay. And then option number three I'm here, I get my underhook, maybe I already had it, right? One thing that you can do to help in this position when you're going for this is sometimes you can even just start from half guard and be in the right spot. So if somebody starts to come down on you, what I would do is I would block across the chest, block the arm, if I was in regular half guard, and get here like this. All right, I'm here, I'm blocking. Now I can actually go to my lockdown just as easily, right? Because I can get that foot underneath and get that foot underneath. And then once I'm here, now I can fight for this underhook by messing around with his feet. And then once I'm here, decide, do I want to go for the dog fight? Maybe I do. So I'm going to reach up and I'm going to grab his lat across the back. And then I'm going to scoop that foot with my top leg, pull the other one out like so, and get up to my knees. Now we're in dog fight. Or even my hand. Now we're in dog fight. Or, well, you know what? I'll say that for tomorrow. There are some little details in here that I think that that have been accumulated over the past while that I will share with you tomorrow. They're just little things, but they are important to keep yourself safe from certain attacks or certain positions that could come up if you're, especially if you're in MMA with punches and stuff, because that's what 10th Planet and the lockdown is all about. It's all about MMA fighting, because there you don't wear a gi, but the lockdown can be is just as effective without a gi, and in fact can be a little looser because of that fact. Because you can grab a hold of the gi, you can be a little bit looser with it. So don't get complacent with it, but you can be a little bit looser because of that. So in any case, that's all I want to show you for today. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 25th, will be the day before Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to finish up my lockdown stuff tomorrow. What I can get in, just some details and a few submissions that we can do from these different positions. But in the meantime, like always, if you have any questions, please feel free to message or put a comment in on YouTube, or you can send me a direct message, DM me on Facebook. Don't DM Springfield because that's not me. DM mine, Justin Turcotte, Turcotte. And if you want to come and actually like have me watch what you're doing at any time, come to my Zoom class at 6. I can put you up and talk a little bit more directly with you. So instead of just being sort of a lecture style jiu-jitsu class, it can be a little more interactive where I can watch you guys and show you. So come to that. And yeah. All right, guys, have a good one. I will see you tomorrow.